guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Deeper Pro Plus. So this is the GPS version. It's got GPS built in. What we're going to do is we're going to unbox it, have a look at what you get in the box, and give it a quick charge, and then we'll nip down the lake and see how it performs. I've had the old version, the very first version without the GPS and all that, so we'll step it up and we'll see what this one's like. And I'll also show you my rig I've set up. The Deeper bait boat attachment is 60 quid to buy. The one I've knocked up cost me 6. So 10% of the cost. Is it as good? We'll soon find out. Let's go down and have a look. Right guys, so first off let's have a look at what you get in the box. Let's cut it open. There it is. That's like your top tips. So some very basic quick start guide, if you like, I guess. You get 2 little adapters for the top, 2 of them. You get the Deeper itself. There we go. Quite a sweet little device. And in here you've got a cool little pouch for it to go in when you're not using it. Quite cool. And the USB charger. I'm not going to bother getting that out because it's only a micro USB. I've got millions and millions of them, and if I get another one out I'm going to have one more to the box. And I think that's it in there. Yeah, that's your instructions. But we don't need them, and so we've had one before, so it's going to be very similar, if not the same. So we'll keep out one of each. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on charge, and then we'll go down the lake. We'll have a look at the app and have a bit of a play down the local lake and see what's what. So I shall see you when we get there. Right then guys, I've had to do this one as a voiceover just solely because of the wind at the minute. I can't seem to, you can't hear me over the wind noise, so I've muted what I was talking about. I'm going to do it back here. Basically we're just chucking the Deeper out now. That was the first cast there that you've seen. I've forgotten to take the flasher off, which is on the right hand side of the screen now. It's basically just showing you what the Deeper is chucking out and frequency wise, and I'm just going to turn that off now. You just go down into your settings, flashers, and then turn it off, and that will get rid of that. It means you'll be able to see the depth clearer. Now on the left hand side of the screen, this is actually a split screen in a minute, the left should be my GPS data. So that would be, you know, where the Deeper is in the lake, and obviously what ground we've already gone over would normally be a map there. But for some reason the GPS isn't working at the moment. Whether that's just to signal where I am. I mean, you don't get phone signal here, so our GPS is probably quite bad. So we'll turn that off in a second, but as you can see, the lake out there, it's about 7.5 feet at 40-50 yards. Retrieving it slowly now, you see the lake bed is fairly flat and uniform, with lots and lots of weed. It is showing a fish there, but whether it is or isn't, I don't know. Lots and lots of weed, but you can see from the insert there on the top left now, the casting video, you can see how much weed is on the surface. So the Deeper's doing a cracking job at picking up the weed. Let's just turn the GPS off now, so we've got full screen sonar. So you just go in your settings again and change it from GPS onshore mode to standard or basic mode. And there we go, we've got full screen now. So let's have another chuck. I'm not using a massive rod and reel here. I think it's £10 line, £12 line on a NGT rod and reel. So these people that say you need a 13-foot sport or marker rod and £30 braid, I mean, yeah, you probably would if you wanted to chuck it 100 yards, but for just mapping a small lake, you don't need to go out and buy the best rod and reel for it. So again, it's landed about 40-50 yards out, and it is 7.5 feet, and it very quickly comes up. The lake is generally quite flat, with the odd sort of shelf that you can see there as it rises up towards the bank. Again, it's picking up fish there and lots of weed. When it's a single fish like that, I mean, I'd be skeptical to believe it is a fish. It could be a small shoal of, roach or bream, or it could even be just a bit of debris. I don't quite know how the deeper knows to differentiate between weed and fish and that. I mean, it's obviously a clever bit of kit, as you can see, but to see one fish at 3.5 feet, it just I don't know. But I don't use it as a fish finder. I use it solely for what I'm doing now, which is mapping the lake bed and seeing what is basically the bed's made up of. And as you can see there, it's a lot of weed. So I generally adjust my approach now and go, if I was fishing today, I'd be using chod rigs just to get over the weed. So what we got now is basically a massive slope or cliff there, but that isn't the lake bed. That is where my last cast stopped and my new cast starts. So don't be thinking there's a massive crater out there. It's not. Basically, when the deeper gets nearer the shore, nearer the bank, it basically cuts out because the water's too shallow for it to operate properly. So, and this lake has long shallow margins, so when you get to about 12 feet 15 feet from the bank, it does tend to cut out. But again, cast number 3 now, and it's not showing any difference really. The bank is very sloped up, and there's lots of weed, which we already knew, but it's an amazing bit of kit. It's picking up everything that it should be, and I know it's on the money because you can see for yourself there is an awful lot of weed out there, and it is showing an awful lot of weed. So brilliant. And there we go, last cast. Again, no difference, 7.5 feet at sort of 40-50 yards. The weed tends to be a bit lighter out in the middle there, towards the centre of the lake, and it just gets thicker and thicker as you come in, which is what it's doing now. And it starts sloping up towards the bank. Again, plenty of weed, coming up to 4 feet now, and this is when it's going to start dropping out. And there we go, water too shallow. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with the way the deeper works, and it will be replacing my other deeper, I believe. It's I probably wouldn't go for the GPS version, because as you can see down here in Crawl, it doesn't work very well, so just go for the Pro. Right, now let's have a go with the Lucky fish finder. This is what I've been using sort of to tow behind the bait boat, but after the test today and what you're about to see, it probably won't be used much more, to be fair. It is a very cheap fish finder. It works very well. I mean, it works just as well as a deeper at range, but what it sends back is nowhere as accurate as a deeper. So at the moment I'm just getting it all set up, registered, just dipping it in the water just to get it powered on, and we're going to have a cast with this and see what we think. So at the moment it's showing an awful lot of fish and very little weed. So I think what it's trying to differentiate between is the fish and the weed. I think it's thinking that the weed is actually the fish, and possibly the weed symbols down the bottom is actually what it's trying to show as fish. So it's a tough one, because you know, although it casts the same as the deeper, it works at range like the deeper does. It's very limited to what it actually sends back, and how accurate that information it sends back is. So at the moment I'm showing you there, it's showing as 4.2 to 3.5 feet of water, but you can see it's at my rod tip, and I'm not sure if you can see from that top video, but the margins are only 12 to 18 inches deep max. So we already know it's not showing correctly, but at a chuck like that, it's showing roughly the same as the deeper, between 6 and 7.5 feet. But then it starts getting iffy as it comes in. It goes down to 4.2 feet, which is where it is at the moment, is roughly about that. But as it gets close to the shore, it doesn't seem to drop off like the deeper, and it doesn't show the margins as too shallow. It actually says 3 feet, which is the minimum operating range or depth of the Lucky. So I think, unlike the deeper where it just cuts out and stops altogether, the Lucky will still show 3 feet even though there isn't 3 feet below you. So there. It's out the water now, and it's still showing as 3 feet of water. So I've given up with that one. I've had 2 quick chucks, and now let's go and have a quick summarise of what we've learned. Hey, what's up guys? I've decided to do the deeper video as a voiceover and whatnot, because the wind down here, although the sun's out today, the wind is really blowing, so the audio is rubbish. So what I'm doing now is just come back to the car. I'm just going to talk you through what I think, and also to show you one of my gadgets that I've sort of redesigned, if you like, which is this. It's a you can buy them on eBay. It's a clamp that just clamps onto anything, and you've got a really stiff, flexible arm. Basically, it's good, sort of 2 foot long. Now, I've seen people modify things like this for cameras and things for their bait boats. But I mean, that's generally one of the extension arms for your cap or helmet, and they're only about 30 centimeters long. So this, if you think that's attached to your bait boat, if you had a camera on that, you're a good 18 inches below the surface, so you get a better view. And all I've done is, it's still got the original clamp on, but I fitted a camera adapter on there, so I can put a camera on there. But it also doubles as a very cheap alternative to the deeper arm. So that will hold a deeper really securely. As you can see, that's not coming out, no movement at all, and that will hold that. I mean, the deeper arm, flexible arm, is $59.99. This is $4.99 on eBay. You know, if you are worried about how secure it is, you could always cable tie it so it can't open. Or the other thing I've just ordered, which I'm waiting for, is a thread, so I can actually screw it to the bottom of that. And by doing that, I mean, I can still use the clamp for putting a mobile in if I wanted to, mobile phone or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's a really good sort of alternative to the deeper arm. Also for anything else, if you want to put a camera underwater on your bait boat, which is what I use it for, you can do that just by simply, all I've done is I've glued that on and then cable tied it to hold it in place, and that ain't going anywhere now. And say I'll put my GoPro on that and put it a good 18 inch below the surface of the water on the bait boat. So that's one idea. Coming on now to what I think of the Deeper Pro Plus. As you saw, I've just done 3 casts with this and 2 casts with the Lucky fish finder. The Lucky fish finder was going berserk. It kept telling me there was fish there when there wasn't. The depths, they're near enough the same. The Deeper picked up at about 40 yards range, 7 feet of water, which the Lucky did as well, between 6.5 7 feet. So there isn't a great deal of difference in that sense, but what you will notice, at one point I looked down and the Lucky fish finder is telling me there's 3 feet of water below it. Now clearly there wasn't, because you can see the bottom of the water is about 12 inches if that. So I think that's just a problem with the minimum depth range, because they both need roughly about 3 feet to function properly. So I'd definitely go with the deeper. It's a much more accurate tool. It gives you a much better understanding of what's beneath you. I mean, you'll see the video run. As the video runs, there's it's sort of showing me where the weed is, which obviously the Lucky isn't. It keeps flashing up with weed, but we know, looking at the GoPro footage, that the lake is completely weeded up. So by far the deeper is the more accurate piece of kit. So I mean, you can pick a Lucky fish finder up for about 29-39 quid. These are obviously 200 quid, but in my opinion well worth the investment. They're so much more accurate, you can do much more with them, and as you can see, I mean, people that have reviewed these before, this is why I want to do something different with the deeper. They've all said, you know, you need £30 braid, you need a spot or marker rod and that. Well, I just proved them wrong, because I've just cast this with ease 40-50 yards with an NGT rod, a 12 foot 2 3/4 test curve rod with £15 line on, and put some weight behind it, easily get this 70-80 yards, no problem at all. It's a light bit of kit, there's no weight in it, so why you need £30 braid and a, you know, massive £4 test curve spot or marker rod, I do not know. The other thing I see people doing wrong is, when you first get this, when you probably saw from the unboxing, there's a label on each of these holes where your little eye screws in. Now a lot of people say you need to fish it on the side one, the second one in, the middle one. Well, that's false. Okay, what you do with these is you've got the top one, which is for fishing from a boat, so you'd have your arm or whatever above it as it's in the water. Okay, that's how you'd fish that one. That one, the one everyone says to fish from the shore with, is actually the one for fishing from above the water line. So if you're on a bridge or off a pier or a really high bank, you'd use this one, because as you pull the line back, it's going up towards the rod tips, therefore it's pulling it flat in the water. If you're fishing from the shore, what you're actually doing is you're pulling it in, and to get that level now, the deeper is now pointing up, so the transducer is going at an angle. So if you fish it that way, it will work, but your readings would be completely inaccurate. So for fishing from the shore, it's always the bottom one, because that way as you pull it in, it's perfectly flat in the water and it gives you the best reading. The other thing I suggest is I've put some PTFE tape on the thread, just to really, because I mean, that's 200 quid bit of kit that you're casting, you know, up to 100 yards. You really don't want that to come loose at any point, and after every couple of casts I always check to make sure it's still nice and secure. So there's a nice top tip for you. So definitely I'd say the deeper is the better product, which we kind of thought from the price band of the two, the Lucky being under 50 quid, this one being nearer 200. So you always get what you pay for, and the Deeper Pro is definitely a very valuable bit of kit for any angler. Doesn't matter what discipline you're into, sea, boat, match, carp, there is a use for this in every single discipline that you do. Okay, it just depends on how you use it. I mean, I wouldn't use this as a fish finder. You know, if you're out in a big French lake and you're on a boat, you'd have a fish finder, which is going to be a damn sight more accurate than this. I mean, this could be picking up a chunk of floating weed, and therefore it's saying it's a fish. Maybe in the winter months, when they're a bit close to the bottom of the lake, it might be handy for spotting the odd shoaler fish, but other than that, I wouldn't use it as a fish finder at all. I wouldn't trust it. It could be a bit of floating debris, it could be a bream, and the last thing I want to be doing is casting into a shoulder bream. So I'm using this to basically contour the lake bed, so I know where the best features are, where the deeper water is in certain times of the month, where the shallower water is in certain times of the month. This is always going to tell me, and it's always going to be slightly more accurate than a bog standard marker float. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I think it's a brilliant bit of kit. I think there could be some improvements made to it, but I mean, all in all, it's a really good all-round bit of kit. Over the Lucky fish finder, which very rarely gets used by me now anyway. It used to be more for towing behind the bait boat, but I mean, the readings are so inaccurate, it's they're not worth it. So that I'd quite happily use, and I will use on the bait boat along with my cameras, and it will give me a really good idea of what's below the surface. So yeah, get yourself a Deeper Pro Plus. Although I do think the plus section, the plus is actually represented in the GPS function. Now, as you probably saw from my video, I turned the GPS off in the end because it wasn't mapping the lake. Whether that's because I'm out in rural Cornwall and the GPS signal's rubbish, I don't know. But it wasn't mapping the lake, so I ended up just putting it on full screen, basic mode, so it would just tell me the depth and what the lake bed was like. So you got the Deeper Pro or the Pro Plus. I'd probably sway towards the Pro just to save yourself the 30 quid. The GPS function, I don't really see a massive use for it, to be fair. You can always use the Fox Swim Mapper in conjunction with this, so you can take a picture of where you're fishing, and then you can use the information you're getting from the Deeper app and then put that into the Fox Swim Mapper. I think that would be much better than using the GPS mode on this. So in hindsight, I probably would have went for just the Pro, because I think that's all you need. Just the Wi-Fi signal for the better response, and yeah, I don't think you need GPS at all. So that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I will get this video up later today. There is a few more coming up. I'm going to do the Technicat review and the Microcat HD. I'm also going to be doing some other stuff with bait. I've got a couple lined up, but I don't know whether to put it all into my Villadon video or do it as we lead up to Villadon. So when I make my mind up, you'll know. And yeah, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe, because there's going to be lots of giveaways soon. I've got a few surprises in the pipeline, as well as possibly doing something with Steve Briggs. So yeah, so definitely hit subscribe if you're into this sort of thing. As I say, as the videos go on, hopefully the content will level out and the filming will be slightly better. At the moment, this is all fairly new to me. I generally feel like I'm just sat here talking to myself, which yeah, it's something I need to get round and sort of work through. But yeah, we'll see. I've just found out today I've possibly got to have back surgery, so we're going to see how that sort of affects the fishing. But yeah, let's all go out and get ourselves a Deeper. It's definitely much easier than a marker float, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Take care for now.